Nightline begins now with me, Raymond Goh. News making the headlines. Government takes over shipbuilding company to complete LCS project. And MWES to put Malacca as main international maritime hub for global trade. Good morning. The government has no choice but to take over Bausted Naval Shipyard, Sdn Bhd BNS, which is the company responsible for the construction of the Littoral Combat Ship LCS, so that the project could be completed. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said this is because the government had spent 6 billion ringgit on the LCS project.
Dataan akan lengkap akan dikeluarkan, bukan kerana ada projek-projek yang ongoing yang mesti diselesaikan, termasuk LCS. Kita ada pilihan, dah belanja 6 bilion, kita tak boleh tutup. Kita kena ambil alih untuk menyelesaikan projek.
Datuk Sri Anwar told this to reporters after opening the Kuala Lumpur International Book Fair KLIB-F 2023 at the World Trade Center Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. He was commenting on the announcement by Defence Minister Datuk Sri Mohammed Hassan on Friday that a special purpose vehicle has been set up to take over BNS as a subsidiary of Finance Ministry Incorporated, MOF Inc. The construction of LCS was embroiled in a controversy when the Public Accounts Committee PAC revealed that none of the vessels had been completed, even though the government had paid 6.083 billion ringgit to BNS. In January, it was announced that the contract had been renewed and the order has been reduced to 5 ships. The first vessel, to be named KD Maharaja Leila, is expected to be ready by November next year. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Anwar stressed that he would not have raised the possibility of Perikatan Nasional receiving funding from gaming companies for its 15th general election GE15 campaign if he did not have a basis for saying so. The Prime Minister also urged PN Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin to read his statement on the matter in full before taking any legal action.
Kalau dia nak bawa terus, silakan. Saya tidak akan keluar kenyataan kalau saya tidak ada asas. Ya, ada banyak agensi. Ya. Dan siasatan bila dah ada bukti barulah disebarkan, baru ataupun diambil tindakan berikut.
On Friday, it was reported that Tan Sri Muhyiddin wanted Datuk Sri Anwar and Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi to apologise for alleging that the party had used funds from gaming companies and would seek legal advice for action against them. The Malacca Waterfront Economic Zone, MWES, which involves the development of deep-sea ports along the Malacca coastline, can propel the state as an international maritime hub for global trade. Malacca Chief Minister Datuk Sri Abdul Rauf Yusof said the confidence is based on the state's strategic location, as some 90,000 ships sail through the Straits of Malacca every year.
Kita akan melancarkan Clips Kuala Linggi International Port tak lama lagi, dalam masa 45 hari pada sekarang, dan kita akan melihat bahawa koridor 33 km Melaka ini akan berubah menjadi koridor maritim yang terbaik untuk negara kita dan terbaik untuk Melaka dan terbaik untuk rakyat Melaka.
Datuk Sri Abdul Rauf said this during a special interview with Media Prima in Masjid Tanah recently. Also present was New Straits Times Press NSTP Group Managing Editor Dato' Ahmad Zaini Kamaruzaman. Aside from the Kuala Linggi International Port, 2 other deep-sea ports are also expected to be fully operational within 20 years, namely Tanjung Bruas Port and Malacca Gateway. Datuk Sri Abdul Rauf added that the 10,117-hectare MWES development has the potential to become the country's main maritime hub compared to other states, as it is positioned at the crossroads of one of the busiest sea lanes in the world. The new economic corridor is currently being evaluated by the Economy Ministry in order for it to be recognized as a national project, which will act as a catalyst to the country's economic growth and attract foreign investors. Any decision on the cabinet reshuffle is the absolute prerogative of the Prime Minister. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said based on experience, the matter does not need to be discussed in cabinet.
Kita tunggu kalau benar perkara itu berlaku.
Yang ada tak menteri yang tak perform so far, ada pandangan?
Dalam pandangan saya, setakat ini semua perform. Lazimnya tidak ada seorang Perdana Menteri pun berbincang dalam kabinet untuk melakukan rombakan.
Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid said this to the media after officiating the National Training Week NTW 2023 summit in Putrajaya on Saturday. He was commenting on a report by a news portal claiming that Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim may reshuffle the cabinet after the 6 state elections expected to be held by July have concluded. It was also said that Datuk Sri Anwar may get rid of ministers who are not performing satisfactorily, as well as clean up the civil service and administration. However, he has firmly denied the claim. The Education Ministry, MOE, is giving due attention on the discussions to raise the salaries of teachers who have higher academic qualifications as recognition for them. Its Minister Fadlina Sidek said her ministry was taking the recommendation seriously, in line with the Prime Minister's Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's call for civil servants to be given salary increments.
Itu akan menjadi tumpuan awal sebaik sahaja ekonomi negara pulih, dan ia juga tidak lari daripada hasrat kami di peringkat KPM untuk melihat perkara yang sama, dan itu sebenarnya sedang berada dalam radar perbincangan dan juga dalam konteks untuk menaikkan integriti guru dan juga dari segi qualification, maknanya integriti, kualiti dari segi perkhidmatan perguruan.
Fadlina told this to the media after officiating the Seberang Prize Selatan Kita Madani Carnival in Sungai Duri, Nibong Tebal on Saturday. The minister, who is also Nibong Tebal MP, said the MOE encouraged teachers to continue their studies, adding that the ministry will provide them the space and opportunity to pursue higher education. Previously, National Council of Professors, MPN Education and Human Capital Cluster Secretary Dr. Anwar Ahmad reportedly said that the salary of teachers with masters and doctorates PhD should be increased, as they were paid the same as those without higher degrees. He also said that the government should incentivize teachers to pursue higher qualifications to increase their knowledge. Telegram service provider may be subject to action if they continue to ignore the Communications and Digital Ministry's invitation to discuss and seek solutions on complaints relating to user security involving the application. Its Minister Fahmi Fadzil said his ministry had already met with the service providers of telecommunications and other social media platforms except for Telegram, which is seen as unwilling to cooperate.
Walaupun dijemput untuk bertemu, mereka hingga ke hari ini enggan memberi kerjasama. Dan kita lihat ini akan menjadi satu isu, maka saya telah minta pihak SKMM untuk meneliti apakah tindakan-tindakan yang wajar perlu diambil.
Fahmi said this at a press conference after launching the logo and theme of the 2023 National Day and Malaysia Day in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. He also said that his ministry has received various complaints on the services provided on the platform regarding public safety, sales of prohibited substances, scammers and pornography. Thus, the meeting was important to ensure that the best solution can be found immediately. The minister added he will leave it to the MCMC as the responsible regulatory body to recommend the action to be taken. Petronas will continue giving its fullest cooperation to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, in regard to the investigation into allegations of graft involving the state-owned oil company's projects and an international oil and gas company in Sarawak. In a statement on Saturday, Petronas claimed the company had given full cooperation to MACC in the investigation, which had not found any wrongdoing by the company, its employees or its directors under the MACC Act. It also said the company would continue to improve and strengthen its standard operating procedures as a serious ongoing effort to prevent and fight all forms of corruption and misconduct by employees, directors and third parties employed by or on behalf of the companies in the group. This was done following the MACC recommendation and in line with Petronas's zero tolerance against corruption. The MACC on Friday confirmed that an investigation file on the allegations, as published in a portal recently, had been opened by the Commission and that Petronas has given its full cooperation to the graft buster. The portal's article claimed that Petronas had awarded almost 400 million ringgit worth of contracts to a company that was earlier found guilty of involvement in corruption all over the world. Malaysia needs a massive shift towards electric vehicles to decarbonize its transport sector and achieve its goal of becoming a carbon-neutral nation by 2050. Despite the government's firm commitment to strategically develop the automotive industry, particularly the electric vehicle industry, high vehicle prices and a lack of infrastructure are hampering the efforts. Zainal Ratin talks to several industry players and the public to see what is needed to further strengthen the EV market in Malaysia.
The ASEAN EV market is forecasted to grow to 11.77 billion ringgit by 2027, from nearly 2 billion ringgit in 2021, with a compound annual growth rate of almost 33% for the 2022-2027 period. Therefore, it is crucial that the government craft policies that support investment choices, which not only tick the right boxes in terms of the people's higher paying jobs, but also provide a long-term sustainable economic stability. The government is also committed to driving the efforts of attracting investments in EVs and achieving the national target of 15% of the total industry volume for EVs and hybrids by 2030. Currently, Malaysia has recorded more than 22,000 units of plug-in hybrid, and full battery EVs on the road, and the number is increasing. While Jakarta has ambitious plans to produce 140 gigawatt of batteries in 2030, an amount that's close to the global output for 2020, Singapore is on a mission to make every one of its housing districts EV ready by 2025. Malaysia, by comparison, has been slow to the EV game. Yes, more needs to be done, and for a start, more than 10,000 EV charging points must be installed by 2025 through the low carbon mobility blueprint, with up to 900 charging points at present to further promote the EV market.
So we believe that the charging infrastructure over the last 2 years has certainly increased. The charging incentives that exist are also quite encouraging, and we look forward to seeing this expanding in the near future, which I think will give impetus to electric vehicle adoption in the country. Our focus as Mercedes-Benz at the moment is to go all electric by the end of the decade.
For BMW Group Malaysia, the initiatives provided by the government for EV has been very welcoming for industry players including BMW. However, to further encourage Malaysians to go EV, its head of corporate communications and sustainability, Shashi Ambi, stressed that there is a room for improvement.
I think the Malaysian government has been very supportive. They have been actually at the forefront for the products, definitely. But I think now we're also looking at the entire infrastructure with charging point operators, with local companies and local players coming in for the charging business in Malaysia. Sure, I mean, there's always room for improvement because this is a tipping point. This is a paradigm shift. So there's moments now we have to knuckle down, we have to develop more in terms of the infrastructure. I think a concentration for charging point operators, regulations, and enable the safe use of electric vehicles on the roads for daily use.
Besides insufficient EV charging infrastructure, there are several other obstacles standing in the way of boosting the number of electric vehicles on Malaysian roads. Despite Malaysia being on the cusp of becoming a high-income country and government tax breaks offered on electric vehicles, EVs are still too expensive for most.
They tend to be something whereby you perceive as more cost-effective because of the low maintenance. The period of maintenance is required probably only per year, and they're more quiet. They are quite smart with a lot of electrical programs inside there. They are very tech savvy. So I guess that yes, it is a future for the people to understand.
So far, sekarang ni okey, dia dia punya dari segi infrastruktur belum cukup lagi, tapi I can see that this EV is developing and in the future memang akan ada lagi banyak.
For new industry players such as Go Outer Group Sdn Bhd, another important section that needs to be given attention to in promoting EV in Malaysia is the sustainability plan for the both users and the automakers.
We are considering not just on the short-term basis, but on the sustainable, on the long-term, how we can maybe recycle the battery after the 8 years, and then not just on the car itself, but sustainability in terms of the work environment. Of course, this is new technology. We need more expertise.
The transition from internal combustion engine to electric vehicle is an irreversible megatrend. And to achieve a low-carbon future, EVs must become a common sight on roads across Malaysia. However, several important issues must first be addressed to further convince Malaysians to change their norm and invest on EVs to help this country achieve its zero carbon emission target by 2050. Zainal Zaim Zainuratin for Nightline TV3.
After this breather, Turkey to hold runoff presidential vote. Details when we come back. Thailand's Move Forward Party MFP leader Pita Limjaroenrat said his party and its 7 prospective coalition partners must hold talks on the formation of a government. The prime ministerial candidate stated the allies must stick together amid tensions between his party and the Pheu Thai party over who should get the role of House Speaker. Pita was non-committal on Friday over whether the House Speaker should be an MFP-chosen candidate, saying that negotiations must discuss the matter first. The 42-year-old, however, is confident that Pheu Thai would not pull out of the coalition over the issue. Previously, Pheu Thai's negotiators had asked that the House Speaker role be filled by the party, as the MFP already wants the post of Prime Minister. According to Pheu Thai Secretary-General Praset Chantararongtong, the party reaffirmed its support for Pita as Premier, but added that the House Speaker role had not been included in the Memorandum of Understanding. On Monday, MFP and its 7 allies, the Pheu Thai, Prachachat, Thai Sang Thai, Sri Ram Thai, Fair, Palang, Sangkom Mai and Pheu Thai Rom Palang parties signed an MOU agreeing on policies of the government that they plan to form together. Turkey will hold its first ever runoff presidential election on Sunday after both President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and rival Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu failed to reach more than 50% of the vote when the country went to the polls on May 14th. With more than 60 million people registered to vote, including 4.9 million first-timers, voting will begin on Sunday at 8 a.m. local time and end at 5 p.m. local time. Erdogan will face Kılıçdaroğlu from Republican People's Party and joint candidate for the six-party opposition Nation Alliance in the runoff vote. After racking up 49.52% in the first round, a 4.64% point lead over Kılıçdaroğlu, and securing a comfortable majority in parliament, many see Erdogan as being closest to winning the decisive runoff. However, Kılıçdaroğlu believes the margin could still be bridged either by the 2.8 million supporters of an ultra-nationalist candidate who came third or by the 8 million voters who did not turn out in the first round. Super Typhoon Mawar has now entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility, PAR, on Saturday and is now locally called Betty. According to the Philippines Weather Agency, Betty was located 1,320 kilometers east of central Luzon, with peak winds of 195 kilometers per hour near the center and gusts of up to 240 kilometers per hour. It was reported that it is moving faster at 25 kilometers per hour west-northwestward toward extreme northern Luzon in the areas of Batanes and Babuyan Islands. The super typhoon has previously made landing on the U.S. territory of Guam, leaving extreme damage and power outages behind. Wei Chong and Kai Wan's fairy tale run continues. Sports after this breather. In the 2023 Perodua Malaysia Masters, national pair Man Wei Chong and T Kai Wan defied the odds to reach the men's doubles final on Saturday night. The world number 26 upset world number 9 Leo Rolly Kanando and Daniel Martin of Indonesia 21-17, 22-20 in a close 46-minute battle to qualify for their first final in a World Tour Super 500 tournament. Leo and Daniel defeated reigning world champions Aaron Chia and So Wei Yik in the quarterfinals. They will face world number 16 Kang Min Hyuk and Seo Seong Jae of South Korea on Sunday for the title. In the women's doubles event, Pearly Tan and M. Tina staged a remarkable comeback in the second game to beat Jong Na-eun and Kim Hae-jung of South Korea in their semi-final clash. World number 11, Pearly and Tina fought back from 2-12 down in the second game to stun the world number 5 Koreans 21-19, 23-21 in 92 minutes. They will face Baek Ha-na and Lee So-hee of South Korea, who defeated Japan's Mayu Matsumoto and Wakana Nagahara 21-19, 21-14 for the title on Sunday. Pearly and Tina are now just one win away from becoming the first Malaysian pair to win the women's doubles title at the Malaysia Masters since Chin Yi Hui and Wong Pei Ti in 2012. On to football now. The 2023 FA Cup. Selangor FC and Terengganu FC claimed their berth in the semi-finals following their victories on Saturday night. Terengganu grabbed a slot after outplaying Kelantan FC 4-2 at home. And at the Paroi Stadium, Selangor came back from a goal down to beat Negeri Sembilan FC 3-1. Safuwan Baharudin handed Negeri Sembilan the lead in the first minute, but Selangor equalised through Mukairi Ajmal Mahadi 2 minutes later. Johandri Orozco's brace in the 60th and 87th minutes helped the Red Giants seal their win. Selangor will face defending champions Johor Darul Takzim or Penang in the last four. Coming up after the break, 11 Indonesians arrested over online gambling activities. Stay tuned. Police have detained an accounting assistant from the South Kelantan Development Authority, KESEDA, to facilitate a probe into a criminal breach of trust CBT case involving 24.8 million ringgit. State Police Chief Dato Muhammad Zaki Harun said a 37-year-old man was arrested at his home in Bandar Gua Musang on Friday night. In a statement on Saturday, Dato Muhammad Zaki said police had received a report at 6 p.m. on May 26 regarding missing KESEDA funds. He also said in the report, KESEDA claimed that the government's money in two funds handled by the agency's finance division went missing between December 2016 and May 2023. A police team was then deployed to Bandar Gua Musang, where the suspect was arrested at his home. Initial investigation showed that the suspect had transferred the money into his bank account through 194 transactions. The suspect has been remanded for a week until June 2nd to assist investigations under the Penal Code. In Kuala Lumpur, police have arrested 11 Indonesian men over their alleged involvement in online gambling activities at a condominium in Salak Selatan, Cheras. It was believed that transactions totaling 500,000 to 700,000 ringgit were credited by players into the syndicate's online gambling applications. According to Cheras District Police Chief ACP Zam Halim Jamaluddin, all the suspects aged between 20 and 29 were nabbed on Tuesday. He said the suspects were getting customers to open accounts on the syndicate's websites and buy credit for as low as 25,000 rupiah, or equivalent to 7 ringgit, to enable them to gamble on the online gambling platforms provided. He added that the syndicate targeted Indonesians as its customers, and police believe they have solved 253 gambling cases with these arrests. Authorities also seized 12 monitors, 6 computers and 23 handphones believed to have been used in running the gambling operation. All those detained were remanded for 4 days from May 26 for investigations under the Penal Code and the Common Gaming Houses Act. Nightline. As we wrap up, let's take a look as Egypt unveils a series of new archaeological discoveries from a year-long excavation at Saqqara necropolis just outside Cairo. They include 2 ancient tombs dating back to the 5th and 6th dynasties of the Old Kingdom. With that, I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you for joining us and have a great weekend.